Sridhar. Uh, Good morning to everybody. I'd like to just place things in perspective. I believe we're just slightly going a little bit too far ahead, in our discussions. Uh, Policy initiatives of natural farming. Now, what you need to really understand is what is natural farming. The government is not trying to implement or force you to go into organic or natural farming. Let us be very clear on that. As far as in the earlier inaugural session, a couple of points came across. I'll just like to touch upon them if I have the permission of the chair, just to bring it into perspective. Mr. Khan said that we still need to understand more on the concept of natural farming, and Dr. Mehta is here, and he said that there's a dot on. You said so that there's a dot in probably defining natural agriculture in your earlier comment. And Dr. Mehta said that biologicals need to be complementary and not contradictory, and I fully agree with that statement across. And Dr. Ashok Dalwai obviously talked about bioeconomy and circular economy, which is the prime basis of all this issue. Now, see, natural farming and organic farming is similarly just like taking an Indian out of India, but you cannot take out the Indian character out of that Indian, even if he isn't residing in India. So placing into the context that, natural farming is within the concept of organic farming. So the government came across with a Bharatiya Prakritik Krishi Padhyati, which was a submission under the Paramparagit Krishi Vikas Yojana. So natural farming became a submission within the concept of organic farming in this regard. And this total mission came across, which was complementary and part of the national mission for sustainable agriculture. And very rightly now we've got ecological and sustainable agriculture as our theme. Now, under this very concept of natural farming, you need to understand what is being promoted. It is not being a compulsion, it's being promoted for those who want. And where the government is wanting to promote it, it is very well self-defined. They have defined dry lands, they have defined rain-fed areas, and tribal areas. So, they have defined the areas where this kind of natural farming can be promoted. Then the other thing is that they want to promote natural farming in a block level with about 1,000 hectares of area, which will consist of 4 to 5 panchayats, which roughly counts about to be 5 villages. And they are looking at adapting natural farming within that area of a minimum at a range of 1,000 hectares, but not less than 500 hectares. Now, the beauty of this whole issue is that when you talk about, let me take into the concept, when you talk about integrated pest management, right? And you've got these package of practices for various crop protection. Now, you need to understand that one package of practice cannot be the Bible for across the whole country, because we've got different agroclimatic zones, we've got different culture practices, agriculture practices, religious practices. Let me place it across over here also, right, as a community. So therefore, all these things have been actually very well defined within the document of natural farming. I'll just walk you through this whole issue. You need to identify a champion farmer who happens to be a cluster coordinator, which it translates into an IPM package of practice as a progressive farmer, for which the other farmers have got to follow him, or they look upon him of how to go. Then you've got a senior local resource person, and you've got a local resource person. Now, what is the duty of this resource person? What is the importance of this resource person being a local one? That you're a senior one and a probably junior one. See, these guys understand the local dialect. the local conditions, the local culture practices being adapted under agriculture. And then you've got a community resource person. Now touching again back on different culture practices and religion and other things coming into across. Therefore, a community resource person's intervention becomes necessary in this regard. Then obviously we've got capacity building for expert national farming forums, or you've got training sessions going across, and then you've got residue analysis, which there. Now, one question I like to always place it. When we all agree that water in India is all contaminated, probably it is all of it is contaminated, and every fruit produced with soil or without soil actually needs water, then how can anything be organic or natural in that regard? So definitely you're going to find traces. But then coming across this whole issue is that the main definition that in organic, I was discussing earlier in the Nitya Yoga with Professor Ramesh Chand, and he brought a beautiful concept towards me. He said, see, we are not having it as a compulsion, okay? We are trying to promote, identify people who can go across. Now we've got various farmers like tribals or even distant farm villages which are still slightly untouched by the modernization of agriculture or the technologies that we all talk about at this point of time. So therefore, I mean, those are the persons who are targeted. And this is an opportunity. We have all seen, and I have a personal experience. I was once having a walk with a senior official of the CPWD, and he said, you guys from the pesticide, earlier at that point of time, I was a part of the pesticide industry also. So he said, you guys are poisoning our food and you do all this kind of things that create health issues. I said, where did you read it? And it came in the newspaper. Okay, fair enough. So what do you do? So he said that I purchase organic food, which is healthy. And he has got no clue what organic food actually is. And hailing from Punjab, I go to a department store where they have got organic potatoes and conventional potatoes. And I said, what's the difference? And the guy tells me that the washed ones are conventional, and the ones with the mitti, the soil, is organic. As plain and simple as that. And the difference in the price is probably 10 times, 20 times, even 100 times probably we are paying, just because we feel that it satisfies our inner self that we are trying to eat something pure, nutritional, without any chemical intervention in it. So, I mean, and then if you see that the basic concept of the government is not to hinder food security. It is also there to enhance nutritional security, wherein maintaining food security, because there it is no compulsion for a farmer to go into natural or organic farming, because that farming practice is a choice of the farmers themselves. I have a cheffer with me, a personal cheffer, and he is a farmer. He says, I just use 1 bag of urea, but the rest we have gobar ka khad, that cow dung and all that kind of stuff. And that's a mixed kind of farming. So coming back to what we were discussing in Nitya Yoga said, that Professor Ramesh Chand very clearly defined that we've actually got 3 kinds of farmers. We got one, the total modern mechanized farmer. 2, we have got the conventional farmer who is having both organic and chemical ones. And the 3rd one who is purely of the ideology that I need to do some, probably, what do you want to call it, zero budget farming and all that kind of stuff. Now, the primary difference between an organic and natural farming with respect to the agri inputs is just one thing basic. Everything is natural in natural farming. There is nothing synthesized. Whereas in organic, we have got natural things which can be chemically synthesized and then we use. It be maybe biofertilizers, biopesticides, biostimulants to that regard, right? And then we have got natural products, concoctions of botanicals mixed along with metals, with cow dung or cow urine. There is a farmer in Dharuvera who does natural farming, and he showed me 12 formulations over a period of 6 to 8 months, which he prepares in drums. Something has got a strip of copper, something has got a strip of something else, and that kind of thing. And he says it does wonders. That is his belief, and that is what he feels across. Now, the benefit, again, coming back to what Dr. Ashok Dalwai represents nationally, is the doubling the farmer's income. So this, as coming back to the government initiative, where we fail to miss out, is that it is a way of trying to increase the income of the farmer per se. That rather than just thinking about that, I can pay 5 times more the price for organic, think about what a person would want to pay for natural farming, where nothing inorganic has been applied of that. Now, most of you probably also have a village background, rural background. I'm sure all of you must be having. I do have. Been having food in our village, and it tastes pancakes or whatever you want to call them in English. Gobar ka wo pathi kehte hain hamare Punjab mein to, right sir? Pathi kehte hain. So things like that. So there's a difference. So it is a way of increasing the income of the farmer, and the very concept of natural farming also has an initiative of promoting such farmer producer organizations. So it is right from the sowing of a crop under natural farming, or be it animal husbandry or whatever, the total gamut of agriculture that you want to talk about, and then right to the marketing part. And that's where the interventions need to come across, because we fail, I repeat, we fail to interrelate subsequent developments in the policy issues going on in the government. For example, I'll tell you, there is this pesticide management bill which is pending since long, which is likely to replace whenever it does the Insecticides Act 1968. And there in the definition itself, they have said traditional knowledge plant protection products will also be covered under that. So once that thing comes under regulation, again, comes back to the scientists and the academia that, just a minute, sir. Yeah, just 2 minutes. Just trying to place in a perspective over here, that in that case, that product has to be scientifically justified. Now, at times, even today, if you talk about neem, everybody says that the main active ingredient is azadirachtin, but there are probably 3 or 4 types of azadirachtin metabolites which still cannot be identified. So it's just like that, like you have your faith in your doctor, but at the end of the time, when the doctor says that, I mean, you're not going to survive. And then people start thinking to that unseen blanket above you, where you start believing that, okay, somebody just help me out over here, So thank you very much for your attention. Thank you very much.